This conference will now be recorded.
Give it a couple more days.
We've already started to plan for that. There was a few of the artists today were iffy. I'm like, let's skip that because we have something to do next week. We got plenty of stuff.
Do they want some light in here?
I don't mind it like this.
Maybe just one hand?
Hey. Who's this one in the front? Oh, that's, yeah.
No, usually he's staying anywhere from 9 to 12.
We have a few changes.
Where's the church? Okay.
It's hard to pick up this. Oh, I'm gonna go to Texas. Let's pass that.
What?
Let's go to Texas.
What ends up
So if you're going to Costco on 1952, the old Bethany, Bethany Methodist Church. We bought there,
So is it right on?
right on the street.
All the vehicles and the trailer and stuff like
So is it-
We're at 300
Well, my daughter's moving
something
from
for people. We're pushing capacity on the
Kansas
building.
to Watertown.
Since
September.
closer.
Tristan's getting out
3
of,
years, 4 years?
the Army.
We were meeting at,
But he's going
John
to the
Adams Middle
reserve.
School
which
until
is
COVID. We got kicked out of there.
financial
And then we
benefit.
met at the Best Western on the south side down by Apache Mall.
Down the
And
corner?
their event center, they let us meet during COVID.
Oh, okay. So
Turned
you
a
could do
blind
it there.
eye
Yeah.
because we were a church. And we're like,
Yeah, it was nice, yeah. We don't
So-
even know.
we doubled in size during COVID because people were looking for churches.
Yeah.
And then we were able to afford to buy a building. So we bought the old Methodist church. And now we're looking at other options if we grow too much more because
So-
we need to find a 500
Right, to be able to
seater.
house, yeah, to be able to house your congregation.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Oh, that's really cool. Super cool. I should get my sheet out.
Oh, I thought you were up when you came on.
This conference will now be recorded.
At 6 o'clock, I'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We do have a little bit of adjustment on the agenda. We are going to take 4E, the 2026 lead service line replacement, and put that down to A1. For Scott Hunnick, he can talk about that with WHKS.
New business, under new business.
Or underneath new business. Underneath new business, 8A, the Towards Zero Death presentation is going to be canceled. I believe Anna had to emergency, could not come to that, but we are going to add Terry from the Covered Bridge Festival to 8A. So we're going to just adjust that a little bit. I think that's the only adoptions to the agenda for now.
To adopt the agenda as amended.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. I will open the public comments portion. Individuals may address the city council about any items of concern. Speakers must state their name and limit their remarks to 3 minutes. Generally, the city council will not take official action on these items, but may refer the matter to staff for further report or direct the matter to a scheduled for a future meeting agenda. Public comments. Yeah.
I just have one item. You haven't answered my question on removing water.
Just quick, we know, but state your name and your address where we have that for.
Avenue and
I'm concerned about the way you're replacing the water meters. That must be a box outside of our homes and I'm not wanting to go to the AI water meter. I don't know how it's programmed and, without a programmer going through the code, you don't know the code either. And what if I just decide to just turn it off? Just take my meter, just take it. And how did you advertise this to the population of Zumbrota? Did we get a letter in the mail or something? Or was it just a little blurb in the newspaper? Which, if you get the newspaper, and then if you get it, did you read it? To find out that mandatorily all the water meters are being replaced and it'll be programmed to shut off at somebody else's decision, AI decision. And so the sewer, will I still have sewer? And what happens if I remove that meter and just?
And correct me if I'm wrong, Kim and Jeff and Brian, I know these water meters have been a hot topic or a topic for several years that we're going to go to a more current meter. With these new current meters, they were going to do self-reading to help benefit us as a city and you as a resident, that if you had high water usage, we could pull it up on our computer system and say, you have a constant water usage. So that's why we went to that. This has been discussed all of 2 years, if not longer, and it's been publicized. We've had public meetings on that. And we've also had plenty of discussions on the additional fee that if you don't want to put this meter or the reader, I don't think it's AI, correct me, Jeff or Kim.
It's RF.
RF, that we've done research that whatever it emits, that it doesn't affect people, that if you don't want that, that's up to your choice. But we still, as a city, have to charge you our time and our efforts to come out there and read that.
Come from
That
that.
is something that the city staff has spent time to figure out for our public works, to go out there and read it, to bring it to the city staff, the city office.
How many
So-
people need manual readings on a monthly basis?
Yeah, and Todd's exactly right. This has been going on for 2 years. We sent out letters ahead of time to homeowners saying, hey, keep an eye out. We're going to be scheduling these meter installs soon. The meters are not optional. Everybody will get a new meter. There's no RF with the meter. And as Todd stated, we're able to read real time basically on those meters, but that's got to do with the reader. The reader does emit RF less than a second a day. Jeff has provided you with lots of information on what that is and how that works and all the research previously. We've had a couple of requests for, what can we do if we don't want the RF in the house? And
By couple, is that two?
Council spoke about that. I don't remember how many, 2 or 3. Council spoke about that and decided to leave it as an option, contrary to most communities. Most communities don't make it an option even. Everybody's going to have their water meter replaced. They're going to have the reader in there. This is the way it's going to be. But council said, okay, no, we'll give the option. What's that going to cost? So we had to go put together a reasonable cost based on our time, equipment to do that work of going out there and actually having to touch it and read it, when we've got this system now that allows us to not do that anymore. That was $68 is what we had said. This has been in public hearings. This has been multiple meetings. We've talked about this many times.
I'm going to jump
So
in
that's
quick.
where we are.
I'm going to jump in quick. Also, council has heard the last 2 or 3 times in the last 4 years about people that have had high water bills that we could not explain to them why they have high water bills or when that water bill is coming. So that as council, we've had to make a decision. No, you're paying that high water bill. It's not a city problem. It's your problem. By putting these new meters in, if you get a high water bill, we can tell you, is it running constantly? Or you got 7 kids taking 4 showers in the matter of an hour? So that was part of the reason why we want these meters in. So when we have customer complaints, why is my water bill so high? Is it a water leak from the city? Is it a water leak from the home? And I think all 3, 4 of them, it's been a water leak inside the home that we have found by whatever they have running in leak. So that was something that we've done in the past to,
The plumber's keys, you know, if you don't know the plumber's keys and how much goes down through that little hole, how much wasted water, you know, anyone's uneducated about the keys of a plumber, you know, you seek out any leaks, you know, extra showers, you address.
but
that
some of them have been a
family.
pressure tank, some of them have been water softeners that is different. So that is something to answer, go back to your original question. We have publicized this, we have discussed this from new water meters to the new readings for 2 or 3 years.
At the most, 50 people that want manual readings. Personally, I use 0 to 1,000. Find out my statistics if you want, but there, I don't see any reason, I don't see how paying $70 a month for 0, 1,000, you are unwilling for me to read my own numbers and bring them in to see how much I owe.
But
Or
if we
just-
had 3
Or
people.
just if you build it 1,000 and then, you know, once a year, twice a year, charge me $70 to come out and do the official reading on it.
But then all of a sudden you have a $600 bill. 'Cause let's say you haven't read it right. Now you're coming in here to explain to us, why do I have a
I
$600
use
bill?
0 to 1,000 and,
So,
you know, the wire's all shut off anyway, so.
Can I clear up one other misconception or one thing that you said? We can't shut these meters off. There are meters that we could put in. Usually that's a landlord request on a rental property. If they, you know, have a lot of problems with water usage or the renter's not paying their bill, they can request a meter that could be shut off with the system. Everybody else's meter, we can't shut the meter off. We have to come out and do a manual shut off. That's correct, right, Jeff? Because I know we can't do it with the meter, but they have to. Yep. Yeah, but your meter and any home and anything like that, or any business for that matter, is not going to have.
And turn it off, you know.
Well,
I
there's a
mean-
reinstatement fee. That's a whole different situation. But
$210
anyway, this,
to hit 3 houses. Seems pretty steep.
want it to be known that we have answered every one of your questions several times. It's been in the public months and months, 3 or 4 meetings. So anyway, that's, leave it at that.
Somebody's water,
Well, the
or
sewer,
it's requested to be shut off.
Jeff can answer this better, but they're not really related. There's nothing going down the sewer, I suppose, but. Yeah, you want to turn the. Yeah, you still have the base fee, but, and I don't even know if you can have a home, a single family dwelling without water service be habitable. I believe so, yeah. But anyway.
okay, any more public comments? Pete?
Grab a microphone.
I live on 6th Street West. I've been having problems with Safe Built. Been trying to build a garage now for a while, and I've been having just an ample amount of communication problems with them. Problems with Safe Built compliance, and just a pile of other issues. Not gonna go into all of them, but is there a way that we get this resolved in a timely manner to get a little bit better communication between them and maybe a little bit more educating to the general public? I've had several questions go unanswered due to them just ignoring emails, phone calls, stuff like that. Their inspector has done mildly okay, if not the greatest. I've had to do my own inspections to a sense, and he's just trusting what I'm doing. I'm not a builder. I do have construction background in underground, but I'm just wondering what we can do to future better this or change this.
And can I start out by answering that, or, trying to answer that? So Between Miles and I, if we get complaints that they're passed along, we've had very few complaints about Safe Build up till now. We're very well aware of Mr. Lawson's issues with the garage permit, and we've been following it, and we've been having conversations with Safe Build. So from a staff standpoint, we are following up on that, and we would follow up on any complaint that we receive. There just not been very many complaints. Some time frame complaints, but there was staff change, but you always have those. So anyway, yeah, it's understandably frustrating for Mr. Lawson on this project, and there were some things that went into it that made it difficult, and we've been dealing with it and having those discussions with Safe Build. Miles talks to Safe Build quite often on that stuff, and if there's a complaint that comes in, it goes right to Safe Build, and they've been good about rectifying most complaints. This one has just gone a little bit not as smoothly, or quite a bit not as
They've
smoothly.
been attempting to pacify the complaints and not changing their ways. This has been going since April, and it doesn't seem, I still am waiting. They're doing 9 days plus on return to an email, phone call, stuff like that. It's just completely unnecessary, and we need to do better. At what point do we draw the line and find somebody else? And as they do have a 1-year contract, can we open that up again this year?
Well, it'll be council's option to open it up whenever. It's a big undertaking to change. We've just gotten going with the online permitting, which is wonderful from a business standpoint or a tracking and all that standpoint. Sometimes not so wonderful for a homeowner trying to use the system, and that's understandable as well. We do have quarterly meetings with the regional director of Safe Build. We did bring your issue up with the regional director as well and spoke with him. We will, again, on the communication side of things. A lot of it, I think, is communication and listening to what you've been saying. I was in the business for 17 years, and I've heard all that as well. And I do understand that, communication is a critical component, and we'll keep working on that.
But even on their community court application process on the internet, I can't seem to get anything to upload on my computer, and they will not assist me in any mannerism on, do I have the correct anything in my computer to talk back and forth with the community court? What do I gotta do? And they have not answered this, so I just email them directly, and they just tell me this is not the right path. They're not telling me what I need to do better. They're not telling me anything like that. They're just telling me it's not the correct path.
And I think what I'm willing to do or need to do is when we have that quarterly, I would like to be part of that, just to touch base on all that, just to
Can I be part of that?
probably not good. I
I'd like to
mean, no, I mean,
sit in as a constructive member of the community, because every time I talk to them, all they tell me is that they're too inundated with other permits to deal with.
and
If
we,
they're too busy to deal with me, won't they be too busy to deal with other community members? At what point do we have to draw the line?
and I get that, Pete, and I think right now it won't be advised for you to be that, just because I think we'll get on just one path and not a whole bubble. And that's something that we will, I will talk, and then I can communicate with you to see where that went, how that went.
I'm gonna say, we tried them, they did not work. We need to go a different route. That's my standpoint on it. Please take it under consideration.
Yep, we will. Thanks, Pete. Any more public comments? Any more public comments? I will close the public comment portions and we'll go to consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered routine by council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless council member requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and be considered in its normal sequence of agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 400. Accounts payable. Joan, you got a big one. Thanks a lot.
Things going out this month. 1069256 was with Keller Bartman grant. It was for $485,310. That was the workforce housing. And the other big one was the Ebert Companies 83066. And that was the pool pay request. It was for $53,919.90. And there were many others, but those were the two big ones. Does anyone have any other questions or comments?
I do have one, just, I was looking at Hunt Electric, the crosswalk repair. I assume that's a path through, and the person that hit that broke that will be compensated for that?
Yep, it's an insurance.
Okay, and that's what I figured. I just wanted to make sure that, I do know it was that truck that rolled that we had talked about, that it's a pass through.
There are no other concerns. We'll make a motion to approve accounts payable in the amount of $779,208.22.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, passes 4-0-0. Thanks, Joan. Public hearing, ordinance 2026-10, revised peddlers and solicitors ordinance. Miles, we've worked on it for a few times. Let's hear it.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Our code committee was directed me to make some adjustments to our peddlers and solicitors ordinance. So we kind of made some changes, hopefully to reinforce it and make it a little bit stronger, because right now it's pretty bare bones. It's only 2 pages long. It was very old. So just making some changes to it to hopefully beef it up and make it a little bit better for enforcement for our police officers. So a draft version has been approved and brought forward here for council. So I'll summarize kind of the proposed changes we added. We added more definitions for exemptions based off state law changes. So, like things like Boy Scout and Girl Scout cookies and wreaths. We changed the business hours and restricted them further to make them 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I think before it was 7 to 9 maybe. So kind of shortening it up, making it pretty standard, 8 to 8. We lessened restrictions on like what no solicitation signs look like. So previously we kind of had a weird provision, and it was based off state law, that you had to have it was like a 2-foot by 14-inch sign or something that said no solicitation on it. So it was very exact. We changed that to just make it, if you have something that's legible that says no solicitation, that is totally fine, because that's what people do anyway. So we didn't want anything that was a very specific, you could just make what you have. We added some more licensing requirements for peddlers and solicitors. So a full new application will be made that accommodates these changes. There's some specifics in there as well inside the ordinance. We added some procedures for revoking licenses and an appeal process for that. That's something we didn't have before. That's something that really hasn't come up yet, but it's more of a just in case in the future. If we do have a problem and this company is not complying with our ordinance and the police are having issues, then they would have the authority to temporarily revoke a license until council convenes again to authorize that and allow for an appeals process to happen too. We also added language about people that are ineligible to get a soliciting license or peddler's license in our city. That's pretty standard across the board. That's just something we didn't have before. We also are requiring solicitors to wear or provide their license in a public facing location. The example, like they would need to wear it on them when they solicit, because we get lots of questions and complaints about people that don't, and then maybe they run away to the next house or next street. So we want to make it so that people are able to see the license right when they come to the door. We also are restricting it so that if a company has 18 employees that are soliciting in our city, so like a pest control company, that only 3 individuals at a time are allowed under 1 license. And so that they would have to purchase additional licenses for every 3 employees. So they would have like 3 of them would be under number 1 of this license, and then the next 3 would be under number 2, and they would have copies of each one, and they would all have it in a public facing location. We just felt that it was a good way to help, number 1, keep them up to date, and then make sure they have them too, as well as making sure that they are actually wearing them because they're paying for all of them now. So we thought it was a good way to kind of enforce that, make them wear it type of thing. So those are kind of the proposed changes we had, and that's just the draft version, and we hopefully revise all the typos that were in there, and just holding a public hearing tonight on this one.
Kevin, do you have anything to comment? I know you're a big part of getting this to where it's at before we open public comment.
Miles covered it pretty well. It's just substantially modernized for the situations that are presenting themselves to our residents. So we wanted to be able to tackle those up front and be able to empower the police with the ability to actually enforce it. So.
And I know Tom talked the last couple of weeks, there's been some peddlers' questions and comments on that. And I've had them come to my house, and the first thing I ask them, do you have a license? And I've ran into it. And they've been pushy, but at least they've had their license. So that was kind of part of the code committee to tighten it up and more details on that. So I will open the public comments on that. If there's any public comments on the peddler's license. I will close the public comment portion, and we will make a motion on the new order.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Any further discussions? I just want one. I know Miles has worked hard on this, and Kevin has also worked hard on that part of the code committee. So I just wanted to give them a shout out for doing that. So we got a motion and a second. Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. Let's do old business. Ordinance 2026-09, establishing fees for emergency protection fire services within the city. Kim?
Yep, this came about because some insurance companies will not pay if it does not specifically, the entities in a joint power specifically give the power to bill to that, not to the emergency services. So we have asked each member of the fire board and ourselves to get this approved that says, yep, we can, the fire board can charge for fire calls. And that's all this is.
And when we brought it before, there were some questions and council sent it back to make some revisions. With a lot of references to the city of Zumbrota rather than the fire board. So went through and corrected all of those, and I think it should be where it needed to be now.
So its main thing was insurance, they weren't willing to pay unless it's written.
Because it's a joint powers, and with it being the city and we're part of that joint powers, just legality stuff, so.
I'll make that motion to approve the 2026-09 ordinance.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. Thanks, Kim. So let's jump to 8A, new business. Let's do Covered Bridge Festival with Terry.
Terry Erickson-Yoda. I'm one of the committee members of the Covered Bridge Festival. I'm kind of here on behalf of Holly, who normally takes care of all this procedure stuff, so bear with me. I don't really know what I'm asking, but I'm filling you in on what we have planned, so to speak. The festival is September 19th and 20th, third weekend in September, as it always has been. Starts with a 5K, 10K at 7:30 in the morning, and it goes on till dusk that night with fireworks on Saturday. And then Sunday, there's a car show, which I guess we're looking for permission to use this lot for that purpose on that day. Another thing, on Sunday afternoon, we have the parade, which is scheduled to start at 3. And as last year, we went down Main Street, starting with the road closure being on 14th down to 2nd. And we had the parade go from 13th to 3rd and then up to Mill Street. And I guess I'm looking for permission to carry on with that.
Was it, just, Tony, I think, did they have to get permission from state on that, because it's state highway too? Yeah, and I think same thing with the car show. Are you guys still using this one over by Nielsen's, that street too, for closure?
I don't know what's going on now with all this business.
Well, that's true. That's true. I don't-
It's-
Normally they've done
My talks with Holly, they weren't planning on that just because of
construction, okay.
this.
Okay, and I know in the last couple of years, I think you've asked for that, so it's,
Right. And again, that's Holly's ballgame on that thing. So, the state, she's on it, and there's a form too that she had sent out, but it was last year's form and I couldn't print a new one. But Holly's gonna get one down to you.
Yeah, so I gave her the event and parade closure form. And then, so they'll get that filled out, and council really won't act on anything closures until that form is filled out and police has a chance to review it. Jeff and Public Works have a chance to review it, and then it comes to council for the final blessing on the closure times, the locations, all of that stuff.
Right. Holly's on getting all that stuff done.
yeah, and I think with Tony working with Holly and also with Jeff, it's kind of just the legality stuff, and Holly's done very well of taking care of that, so.
She has.
Yeah.
She's our fearless leader. The other thing that I was going to ask about, in the past couple of years, we were able to let vendors leave the park by the swimming pool.
I didn't even think about that.
What does that look like now, Jeff? Is that all covered with fence now, I assume?
Yeah, there is.
There'll be job trailers right there.
Job trailers and it's all rebar and stuff.
We have a gate for emergency only in case it floods.
It would, it would be, basically, it'd be pending how far along they are and what's all in there, but I think it's gonna be busy.
And we can ask the question, put it that way, but
Is there a different way they could go down by the old warming house and come out behind the old ice rink and up where the tractor pull is? Or the tractor?
they did that before. That's where they went.
Yeah, so I know they did that one year.
That was kind of a mess because there's people everywhere.
Well, I know they went down the ditch and one year we were pushing a minivan that got stuck in the hump and I think Kim was there too, so.
Well, we can ask the question of of Ebert and the contractors out there. And I think Jeff's right. It's going to be how far they are. Yeah.
Be a last minute decision is what I'm hearing.
We're not last minute. They may just say, no, we're not, we can't get everybody through there. Or they may say, yeah, we can have the job trailers. Because typically when you put a job trailer there, it stays there for the duration of the project. So. But
And maybe
you can always
Jeff
ask the
can think of a different route or a different way that could help. Because I do agree that is safer, because I know that one year when cars were dipping, it was kind of a mess. People leaving on the main drag with customers and people coming, but.
We won't do last minute. We will, we'll see where they're at, in advance. And to get a path through there, whatever, we'll work our hardest to make sure there's
A
a.
lot of the vendors, the whole vending thing kind of closes down at 6, I believe, and then, there's still food vendors set up on both sides of the road to get the crafty vendors out of
Floating
there.
around, yep, that was effective that way, yeah.
Yeah. Hard, it's difficult. So, other than that, the parade thing, Holly will get to you and she'll work with the state. Any other questions that you might have that I can answer?
No, I mean, Holly's been doing this 4th year now,
5th year.
5th year? I know the
20.
first year and the second year, there's some hiccups, but Tony
This is our
worked out
5th year.
some things with the permits and stuff. I think the last 2 years gone very well, so.
And we're looking for volunteers, Todd.
Bob said he would.
So, yeah, I think that's about all I really have to cover. But as far as using this lot here for the car show,
And like I said, we added extra electrical here, was it last year, to help with the vendors up here and stuff
Yeah.
like that, so. I think we're all good with that, so,
all right,
perfect. Thanks, Terry.
thank you.
Okay, let's jump to 8B, hire Josh Smith as police sergeant. PAT.
Well, we met,
Actually, there's nobody on there anyway, but yeah, go ahead. Recording.
So we met with a candidate that applied for the sergeant position, and we confirmed that he was the right candidate and offered him a position with our city, and he accepted that position. And we're looking forward to having Josh Smith, who is currently a part-time officer on our roster. He was the former chief of Goodhue and was currently working with Lake City. He's looking forward to starting here on July 27th. So we're just looking for approval for that position hire.
I'll make a motion to approve Josh Smith for the new sergeant position.
Any further discussions? I have one quick, I just want to thank Chief and Tony and Bob. I'm part of the hiring committee with interviewing Josh, and I think it was all a mutual agreement that Josh would be a good addition to the PD. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. 8C, Resolution 2026-21, calling for the sale of a GO bonds for the new pool. Rebecca.
Good evening, Rebecca Kurtz from Ellers. And what you have before you this evening is calling for the sale of $4.4 million of general obligation bonds, Series 2026A. And this is for the construction of the swimming pool to replace the old community pool. There are two parts to this bond. Well, it's one issue. The first one is the referendum, which was approved in the amount of $3.1 million, and that was approved in August of 2024. Just as a quick reminder, with bonding for a project, you need to have an authority under Minnesota statute. And so the referendum that was passed provided legal authority up to a maximum of the 3.1 million. However, with the way bids came in, there was an additional 1.3 million that is needed to fully fund the project. And so in order to have a legal authority to fund that last piece of the project, it is proposed that tax abatement be used. And that is basically going through the process. You held the hearing this spring, and it is to, ultimately it results in a tax levy, but it is pledging the tax revenue from a specific parcel. And in this case, it was the DFS parcel. I hope I have the right initials for that.
Oh, DFA.
Dairy Farmers.
DFA.
DFA, okay, thank you. DFA parcel. It is a portion of their taxes that are going to be redirected to pay for the debt service on this. But again, what that ultimately means is it is a tax levy for the tax abatement part. I will say with the tax abatement part, it is anticipated that as fundraising efforts continue to move forward and are successful, any fundraising that is successful would be used to reduce that impact, and that would impact the tax abatement piece of it. So the hope is over time that will go down. With that, the bonds that are being proposed do have a term of 20 years. With that, principal would be due in February in the years 2028 through 2047. There would be a call provision with these bonds, which basically means that you could prepay all or a portion of them in 2036, or at that point in time, if you had funds and you wanted to pay out, or you could call, you could repay all or a portion of it, or if interest rates were more favorable, you also would have the opportunity in 2036 to refund it for interest savings. With this, we are recommending the bonds be rated by Standard & Poor's. You did do that with your last bond issue. The city has a AA- rating with that, and we would recommend going through that process again. We have actually had a call with them. And with that, having that bond rating, the intent is that it creates a wider market for the bonds because that AA minus is a very favorable rating for the community and provides a wider market and interest from potential underwriters or bondholders. As part of our just ongoing work with the city, we do continually review. I know you don't have a ton of debt, but we do look at that and look if there are opportunities for interest savings. And I will let you know there is nothing at this point in time, but that is a standard thing that we always do for the community. When this bond is outstanding, we will continue to bring forward any opportunities that may be there. If you do choose to move forward with this, there is a resolution from your bond counsel in the packet, and we would propose having me be back here again on August 6th with results from a bond sale, and then funds would be available in hand to the city on August 20th. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Council?
Question I have is, we're going to bond for the 3 million. We have the balance left to fund the pool, but we said we couldn't bond for that for some legality. What is that? Because now we're bonding for it. I don't quite understand it.
Yep. That falls under that authority that I mentioned. So with the referendum that was passed in the amount of 3.1, that was the maximum bonding authority under the referendum that you could issue debt for.
Okay.
You have the ability to issue the larger amount, like we're proposing the 4.4. However, we needed to find a different bonding authority to legally issue that remaining 1.3 million.
So a technicality.
So it's a technicality, yes. I don't know if the statute would call it a technicality, but in layman's terms, I would agree.
Any more questions for Rebecca? I know we've talked about this, we've discussed it, we've had work sessions on it. Is it ideal? I don't know, that's your own opinion, but.
No, I did have one more. I think you mentioned this, but now all of a sudden we get a generous donor and we're going to pay off with our proceeds. That can go back to the bond, but did you say that our interest can get reimbursed as well, that we've already paid, or not already paid, but?
So if you have a generous donor, and let's just say that it is in the amount of $1 million, what that means is that you then could cancel the abatement levy portion of that and use that donation to, on an annual basis, reduce the levy that you have for the bond issue, the tax levy, or you could hold on to that and prepay the debt again at that 2036 date. So there would be options on, and we, if and when that happens, we'd be happy to work with staff to figure out what might be the most efficient and cost-effective way on whether that is holding it to prepay the debt or using it annually to reduce the levy. So those are an option we can address at that time.
We'll find one of those, Bob. That'd be great.
Freaky Flooring. Any more discussions or questions for Rebecca?
I make motion to approve resolution 2026-21.
Second.
Any further discussions?
I'll be, one comment I made, I like the city's perspective on debt, that when we look at abatements, I understand the use of it in this situation, but that I don't want it to become a lever that we grab often for solving problems. I'd like to just have that as a perspective going forward, that we're doing this because we're in this bind, and we should try not to get into this bind in the future.
Agreed. We got a motion and a second. Bob? Aye. Joan? Kevin?
Aye.
And I passes 4-0-0. Thanks, Rebecca, and all the work
Thank
you've
you.
done on this.
And we will see you August 6th.
Thanks for the heads up. No. 8D, Resolution 2026-22, appointing election judges. Brian.
Yes, we've got a memo here from Miranda Rash. Miranda and Miles are heading up the election effort with me filling in with some support. But these are the election judges that we've got so far for approval. Many the same that we've had in the past, and we appreciate those people coming back. It's a hectic day, and when things come up, it's good to have experienced people here, and we're grateful for the new ones as well. There's a few new ones on there, so just looking to pass the election judges.
Are we staffed? I mean, where we want to be on that? I know we were short.
Miranda put out, Miles, do you want to talk about that?
Sure. I think we're in a good spot right now. We have a lot of the same people from before. We've actually, I mean, just this week alone, we picked up 5.
Okay.
So
I knew we
think-
were short. I didn't know what the par was or what we ideally be at. So.
Yeah, and I mean, the primary will be pretty low key. I think, we're not going to have 4,000 voters on primary day would be my guess. But I think we'll be in a good spot. And I think part of this resolution is that after this point, the staff will have authority to appoint our own as well. So like, if we have the need and we keep getting interest as time passes, we won't need to go to council every single time. We can just add them to the list and get them ready and trained up, because as the time gets crunched, the trainings get more sparse and hard to schedule with people. So I think part of it was the county's wish was that part of this resolution is also that you're giving us authority if we needed to at the last minute as an emergency get more, that we have the authority to do so without waiting for council.
I'll make a motion to.
Second.
Any further discussions? Bob?
Aye.
Joan?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
Passes 4-0-0. Thanks Miranda and Miles and Brian for doing that stuff. 8E, Resolution 2026-23, awarding garbage hauler contracts. Brian?
Yes, it's been 5 years since we did this. We had several discussions on how we wanted to do it, and council directed me to keep the process the same as what we had done in the past. So I put it out there. We received 4 quotes back. I think we've got 3 of them in the room tonight. And rather than giving you the full proposals, which is, they're nice and there's some words in there, but therefore you can review those anytime. I've got those. I just broke it down into a spreadsheet here that shows the rates, because that's typically how we have been awarding these contracts. And as you can see, LRS had the low rates. Waste Management was close behind with the second lowest, followed by Harderts and Highland. So we propose to basically keep things the same as they are now. Same as we've been in the last 5 years with LRS, having the residential contract and the option to negotiate with commercial properties, businesses, and then offering Waste Management the opportunity to negotiate with businesses.
Did we get rates for commercial?
No,
Okay, so that's going to be set for a commercial property to deal with their.
they're going to
commercial.
negotiate. Yep. But when we had those discussions.
Yeah,
that was
and
what
I
we-
just didn't know if they were going to, okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2026-23.
I'll second that.
Any further discussions? Once again, I want to appreciate or thank all the companies that submit bids. I personally think I'd like one hauler in town, just less wear and tear on the roads and the wear and tear and less possibilities of accidents and stuff with the big equipment. But I do want to appreciate for the 4 companies that submitted their bids and your time and effort for all that. So we got a motion and a second. We'll do Bob.
Aye.
Joan?
Aye.
Kevin?
Aye.
And I. Passes 4-0-0. Thanks, Brian. Set an August work session. I got 2 dates. I'm looking at, and you just let me know, and this, when I shouldn't say me, Brian and I kind of discuss what kind of works for our schedule. Let's see what council is. We're looking at August 10th or August 13th, which is a Monday or a Thursday. Typical 5:30.
Either one works.
Okay, Joan, BOB?
Bear with me, Monday is the 10th.
Yeah, of August.
We're gonna have to move the planning commission to Monday because Tuesday is primary day.
Okay,
That's a bad attitude.
so that, so we're looking at the 13th
Oh,
then.
technically,
No.
we could have both.
You said the 12th is primary or the 11th?
That's,
Okay.
that's a good catch.
And the 12th is EDA, and then we'll be on EDA too.
Yeah, I got EDA, that's why. So the 13th kind of, that work for you, Miles? Okay.
Any way to switch to the next week?
What? We got council the 20th. How about, what is the 7th, no, 1, 2, 3, codes the 17th, right? Would be the 3rd, right? And, no, was that Tuesdays? I can't remember. No, that's Tuesday, so that's 18th. We could do Monday, the 17th. Does that work for you, Brian?
Yep.
Kim? Oh, yeah. We got to keep her around a lot longer than, so we better know.
We could do the week of the 10th through the 14th. I just can't guarantee. I got fire and fair and.
What was
Oh,
that?
that's
Freedom
fair.
County?
Yeah, we should avoid that. 18th?
Do we want to, let's do, how about the week of the 24th or 25th? The only reason, I mean, some of the, that third week, I got 3 or 4 meetings and had a 5th. Does that work for you?
Yep.
Kim? Will you,
Is it Thursday or Wednesday?
25th would be a Tuesday.
25th would be listed. That work for you? Does that get too late for you? You're late in the month to do a work session on the 25th?
No, I don't think that's a problem. Do you, Kim?
Let's do the 25th, Tuesday at 5:30. Just, yeah, we got, lots going on. So let's do a work session, August 25th, 5:30. I just need a motion and a second on
I'll
that.
make that motion.
Second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 4-0-0. Reports, Brian. Okay, yeah.
You missed, as amended, you missed
A1.
Oh, good call. We wanted to get Haneke out of here early, so let's do reports first and then we'll get.
Sorry, Scott.
Sorry, Scott. I did write it down. You gotta like.
Was not that long.
You gotta raise your hand.
Okay, let's go back to 2026 lead service line replacement. Scott, sorry about that.
No problem. Thank you, Mayor and Council. So I'm here tonight looking for approval to go out for bids for the 2026 lead service line project. If we get approval, bring bids back to you on the August 20th meeting. We took that off of the consent agenda because I wanted to talk over a couple of things on why we're doing this. The Department of Health has made it a priority to replace lead and galvanized service lines. We've had some questions from other communities. The city tests their water lines. There's no lead limit violations. It's purely preemptive. And then I also wanted to bring up that we got grant money from the Department of Health to replace 40 service lines. Currently, the city has 30 lead service lines and 40 more galvanized lines. So this year, we're going to be attempting to replace 40 service lines. So if you get questions on why my galvanized service wasn't replaced, it's because we got through the funding this year and we were going to apply for more funding next year. So the priority is we'll get all of the lead lines out of there, as well as about 10 galvanized. And then next year, we're going to come back and do the remaining ones. So just wanted to remind council that we've been looking at these since 2024, and we're doing this because it's a Department of Health mandate and we don't have any lead issues in town. And then I'm open for any questions.
You mentioned that this is a funded program through the state. They allocated a whole bunch of money, so.
Percent funded by the Department of Health through grant dollars.
So I assume we're gonna take care of the lead before we do the galvanized. Have we pinpointed which 40 we're doing this round? I mean, I see there's a list here, but I mean, is it the top 40 we're doing or?
So we are going to hit the 30 leads, and then the 10 galvanized are going to be a combination of, so the Department of Health is going to give us 25,000 per service. They don't care if that service is from the house to the main or the house to the curb stop, which is typically back in the boulevard. There's some houses that we know we replaced from the main to the curb stop, and we know that we only have to replace within the property. So to meet our $25,000 per house, we're gonna kind of see how we're doing on the lead ones. And if we're approaching that limit, we're gonna target 10 of the galvanized that we know we only have to replace a section. If we come in favorably on that way, then we're gonna attack the ones that we don't know the public side. And then it's also gonna be, once we get through the lead ones, we're gonna need to get agreements from property owners, and it's gonna be who we can get to answer the door and who we can get to sign it. And yeah, get the work done.
So that's gonna be decision from you guys and Jeff, where we're at and where we're standing and what we're doing, okay? 'Cause I can just, why do you do mine and not that? That would never happen.
There may be a couple of these houses that have, residents along there have combined sewer lines while the road, while the yards are ripped up. Is there anything that can be coordinated as far as getting those done at the same time, or is that?
So the project is to do all this trenchlessly, meaning that, yep, we're gonna try to excavate at the house and then excavate it either at the curb stop or the main, fish a line through the old line, pull the new one in. If that doesn't work, there's other trenchless methods, but then the last worst case scenario is that we would have to trench it. If that was the case, if the sewer line is damaged during the replacement of the water line, it would be eligible for funding. If it's not, we would have to have discussions with the homeowners of, do you want to do this while the contractor's there? And then if the contractor's willing to take on that extra work.
Sure. So we just need a motion and a second to approve the project.
I'll make a motion to approve the project for bids.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Assume I can vote aye. I'm on that list, but I don't know if I need to abstain or if I can.
We don't have Flaherty on here. You could, it would still pass. You can abstain if you want.
Yeah, let's just abstain, just conflict of interest maybe. So we will pass this 3-0-1. Thanks, Scott, for your time, and sorry I missed it. You just got a holler there.
No, there's one more thing on the reports that I'm sticking around for too. So.
Okay, perfect. Brian?
The pool, we are going to host a groundbreaking on Monday, July 27th at 6 PM. I walked around downtown today. It was hot. To every business and dropped off a flyer. Everybody was grateful and took one, and so they're posted everywhere. And we'll get it out on the website. I'm going to send a press release out to the local media as well as KAL and KTTC, who has been very interested in our project. So we're hoping to get a good crowd there. We'll have the mayor speak, right?
Perfect.
Yeah. And the contractors will be there. We'll be able to meet the contractors that are doing the work. Nothing real fancy. You know, we'll hold the fancy for the grand opening, in which we'll have refreshments and things like that. But this will just be, gather up there, speak, turn some dirt. We've got some gold shovels, hard hats, that type of stuff. So, but it's a big deal for the community. All the business owners just, acknowledge that too. They said, absolutely, this is a big deal. We need to get this. So it was good, but it was hot out there walking around. It'll be on the park side of the pool. We need to stay out of the construction fence. We're going to be kind of by the trail. Just meet right up there. Going to ask people to park in the park. I sent it to the school as well to post down there, so they will get some kids up there. Right now, we're picking colors, and I sent emails to the council, park board. The one thing we really have to pick is the block, which we have picked. I sent that along to Burbach and I asked them how much more time we can have for the rest of the things. We were going to bring it to the park board on last Monday, but there wasn't a quorum, so they canceled the park board meeting. So as staff, we've called in a couple other design people around town to weigh in, who knows colors very well. And so all we had picked so far is the block. And then they're going to give me a deadline on the rest of the things, the roof, the soffit, well, I think we know the roof too, because the roof is going to be a burnished bronze to match the bathhouse. Because the bathhouse is not the bathhouse, the shower house, the bathrooms for the campground, which are adjacent. So we know the roof and we know the block. Beyond that, we're hoping to hold off and get some more input from council and the park board on colors for the shade structures, things like that. But if push comes to shove and they need those ordered right now too, we're going to go with it. What I sent all of you guys. Let's see. Yeah, I think that was it on the pool. So it's moving along. The old pool is gone. They're excavating now for the what do they call them, manholes or vaults or whatever they are, getting way deep, way into rock, a lot of rock, a lot of hammering going on out there. I don't think there's been any dynamite. No, it's been all the jackhammers. So anyway, going well, exciting.
Is that it?
Yep.
Perfect. Chief? Perfect. Scott, you said you had something for public comment?
Yeah, just wanted to give the council the update on the Pleasant Avenue Loop reconstruction project. We had a pre-construction meeting on Wednesday. We are going to be having a notification go out on Monday on what the contractor's schedule and a phasing plan. So they're going to get started mid-August and they're going to be attacking 4 of the 12 blocks to get done this year. Those blocks are 5th Street from 1st Avenue to 2nd Avenue, and then 2nd Avenue from 5th Street down to the south where it makes that bend. That update's going to be coming out on push notifications on the city website on Monday. I just wanted to let council know that.
They might start moving trees in a week and we've got that on the notification too. So
yes. Yep.
And I assume, which I think Jeff and I talked about, or we talked about, that when the winter comes, there will be a blacktop base versus gravel, help with plowing and stuff like that, correct?
Correct. Yep. Anything that's ripped up this year will be hard surface back in with blacktop.
Because I know I've had a couple residents in that loop asking about that, which I think we've talked about in the past. Perfect. Any more questions on that? And they will get it all done next year then?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, Scott. Jeff?
Yeah, just one quick thing. I do have one request, or I have a card. So any concerns like with the water, I appreciate I got my cell phone number. If you call me and not address the city staff with any concerns like that, I'll handle those if you would. That's just a request I have. So thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Jeff. Kim?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Mr. Rob?
Just 2 things really. Number 1 is that our candidate filing is open on July 14th and will be open through July 28th. So just want to make sure that's out there because we put out a blast on social media last week just so people knew. But that's open and you only have 2 weeks really under Minnesota law to do it. So just heads up on that one. And then number 2 is that we did have notification from someone who did a development application with us that there was a attempted scam from impersonating the city, requesting dollars. But our police have been notified of that. And then I have done the proper reports for that one. But just wanted to kind of put that out there that in the future, when we get development applications and sometimes there's like personal details like addresses and things like that, those won't be shown on public agendas any longer. So I just want to make sure council and the public is aware of that. The city will never request like thousands of dollars from you over email, or probably not at all. So if you ever receive an email that is requesting a $5,000 wire payment, we're not doing that. And I would take it anyways because the reason I knew about it is because he was upset that he had to pay anyways. So, so that's how I was aware of it. And I was like, oh, well, you don't have to pay us $5,000. So, so anyways, we've been able to make people aware of that. So I just want to bring that out just for general knowledge that that happened. But hopefully we can resolve it by kind of removing some of the more private details on our applications going forward.
Perfect, thanks, Miles, sorry. I have nothing. Bob?
I have nothing.
Joan? Kevin?
Nothing.
Meeting adjourned.